Hello, this is Danielle Arnold, and this is my W540 individual presentation. So what I've started off is at my Weebly website at jhsarnold.weebly.com, and I have linked my W540, all of my projects on my Weebly website. The first project that I would like to talk about is my technology plan. So I've started with a description of JCPS and how big it is, our digital technology mission statement, procedures and policies, then some JCPS student technology policies. So they have to sign that acceptable use policy for all JCPS students. The employee technology policy, I've listed the do's and don'ts there. And then getting to J-Town High School, gave some background information about J-Town, and we are located at 9600 Old 6 Mile Lane. And then I've broken up our population and our enrollment into different categories. Now at J-Town we have one principal, three assistant principals, three counselors, and 75 regular education teachers, 12 ECE teachers, and 35 classified staff. So our enrollment is about 1,200 students, and as you can see, I've broken it up into minority and economically disadvantaged students by class, by diversity, by gender, and then again those economically disadvantaged students. I've listed here the hardware inventory that we have at J-Town. So about 100 faculty computers and over 550 student computers. Now at J-Town we are an engineering magnet, so there are quite a few computer labs that teachers teach out of. Actually 9 teachers have classrooms with 30 or more computers in them that they teach out of. We also have open access computer labs with 30 computers in there, a Plato lab, which is used for credit recovery, and then there are 12 computers located in the library. Our chemistry department also has 8 computers that they use for experiments. Here is some software that we use at Jeffersontown High School. And finally is some pros and cons of using technology. I enjoy using technology. I try to use it as much as possible. Unfortunately, there are some cons. When the server goes down, sometimes you lose some instructional time because, or your instructional time is interrupted. And then again, sometimes technology is not used in the classroom because employees are not fully trained on it. I mean, every piece of technology or teachers have to know how to use it, and if they don't know how to use it, it can't be used properly. Assistive and adaptive hardware. I was unaware of all of the technology that is used with students with special needs, so I talked to our FMD teachers and they gave me a long list and some pictures of what they use: iPads, board maker software, GoTalk, switches, touchscreen computers, smart boards, all kinds of technology that they use. And then ESL resources that our ESL program uses. One that I found quite interesting was this International Children's Digital Library. It has books from all over the world, and you're able to show them in multiple languages and are able to kind of create your own personal library with those books. So I thought that was a very neat program. Again, continuing with resources, and then management strategies. In our open labs, teachers manage the lab as they see fit. We do not have like a set of rules that teachers must follow when their students go in there. Pretty much the only rule that must be followed is that there's no food or drink in the lab, and that if any damage is done to any of the computers, that the STC is told immediately about that damage. Now, having ECE students, I most often use the portable laptop carts for my kids. I just find it easier for me to bring the computers to them instead of dragging them across the building to a lab. Um, my analysis of needs would be more open access computer labs. Uh, just last week, J-Town started building a new lab out of the library, so we are adding one more open access lab. Some portable iPad carts would be wonderful. The laptops are good, but sometimes iPads do the job just as well, and they're smaller and easier to manipulate. A clicker set for every department, and then finally document cameras for every teacher in the building. My next project is my PD plan, and this one I did a PD on Poplet with my chemistry department. First, for professional communication, I communicate all the time with my teachers at school. I am in a weekly PLC with my chemistry department. We go over data and information that we're going to cover in the week and how to tweak any information that we previously taught. I do share every single piece of technology that I create, whether it be a presentation or clicker activity with my chemistry department. I would say that I'm probably the most technology savvy, so they usually rely on me to create those, whether it be an assessment or presentation, and I usually share it with them. One piece of, or one application that I am or have come quite comfortable with is Google Forms, and I have created some quizzes and things for remediation for our chemistry department, and we have linked them to some of the teachers' websites. At J-Town, we do have 2 sets of clickers, 1 of the e-clickers and 3 of the smart response clickers. Gave you some screenshots of my evaluation tools that I have created. And then again with multimedia tools, I try to use as much technology as possible, whether it be a presentation that I've embedded with videos or pictures or music, to Poplets, to Animotos, to Flip Snacks. I have created 4 here that I've given you a screenshot of. Now, with worldwide professional communication, I was surprised how easy it was. I was able to make contacts with people all over the world: Spain, India, Mexico, Costa Rica, Brazil, United Kingdom, Morocco. I was quite surprised. And not only just teachers, but teachers that teach chemistry. I have created a Pinterest technology board that I have been able to share information with other teachers on. So I've given you some screenshots of those. And then some conversations that I've had with other chemistry teachers on the periodic table and a Poplet that I've created. And then again on how to integrate the Weebly website into their curriculum. So I've given you a screenshot of that conversation. And here's some other resources I have gotten from all over the world. One from Morocco, which is a daily technology newsletter that she sends out, and some science songs that a teacher from Canada has made. So it was really cool to see all the information that I could gather from all these teachers abroad. Communication with parents. Most often I use email. I have personal emails from my teachers, from my parents. There is also another application on Infinite Campus. If you go down to Teacher Messenger, you're able to create emails and send them out through Infinite Campus. It could be missing an assignment, so any student who's missing an assignment, or grade any student who is failing, you can send out emails. Like I said, my PD was on Poplet during my chemistry PLC, and I showed them how to sign up for Poplet, how to go step by step on creating a Poplet, how to add pictures and video or drawings into their Poplet, and how to manipulate and create those different Poplet applications. Since Poplet does allow you to add video and pictures, I did show my faculty members and gave them also a PDF of copyright and fair use rules that they should follow for teachers. And my last thing on this project was some professional development that I have attended outside of my school. Now my last presentation is my technology unit. Oops, excuse me. And this one was on the periodic table, so I've listed my standards of the periodic table and my IST standards. Now for this unit, I did use a Google form as a pre-assessment. I gave you a screenshot of what my students had answered for some of the questions. And then here is some data on what their answers were. I try to use as much technology as possible, and I've listed each form that I've used and how I kind of used it. So Google form, online periodic table, Poplet, Weebly website. There was a Mendeley video, Element video, a PhET simulation, Smartboard, PowerPoint, Padlet, Smart Notebook, Smart Response Clickers, and finally VoiceThread. So I try to use as much technology as possible. Some new innovative technology ideas that I used in my unit was this VoiceThread and Padlet and Google form. I hadn't used the VoiceThread in class before and was able to create an assessment using the VoiceThread so the questions could be read to each of the students. Here I listed my Weebly website that I used, and the Google form. I created a pre-assessment and scavenger hunt with that. My online periodic table, my Poplet, some YouTube videos that I embedded into my Poplet. I build an atom simulation, which is quite interesting. I love using simulations in chemistry. This University of Colorado Boulder site has tons of simulations for science, and I try to use them as often as possible. And here's my unit. So lesson 1, they came in, they had a question on the board. I call it their sponge question. Computers were given out, and then they had their pre-assessment, which was through the Google form. They went through using their online periodic table for a scavenger hunt and submitted their answers through that Google form. Lesson 2, again, they had the sponge. I divvied out computers, and then we went through some notes through a periodic table Poplet I created, and then they had to answer some questions build some atoms with this simulation. And then lesson 3, again, the sponge and computers were answered and divvied out. They had to calculate the pin of an element, so I showed that information with a PowerPoint. And then they had to do some on their own, and instead of doing it on a worksheet, they were able to go to my website and use a Padlet to put their information on there. And finally, a post-assessment was given using that VoiceThread and the Smart Response clickers. So again, no pen or paper was used. They merely had to use the clicker to enter their answer. So my management strategies that I used are listed in my inquiry and research. And finally, some adaptive hardware that I use. Each laptop had a text reader, and here are some screenshots of my post-assessment, and finally are some work samples of my unit. And there are my